I mean, what kind of quote is that? Seriously, what kind of insanity is the Walt Anderson quote? You're in a hurry? To do what? Move the game along? That's really insulting to Buffalo fans, to Buffalo in particular. The penalties against Buffalo on the Denver drive in overtime. I thought the first one was a terrible call because it was not consistent with the way they had been calling the game. If you're going to call that one, you got to call the one when Buffalo was going in, when they had a 24-23 lead, and there was that shot to Cooks in the end zone against Riley Moss, who led the league in defensive pass interference penalties this year. I was okay with them not throwing the flag there, but then for them to throw the flag on that first DPI against Buffalo in overtime that put them in really solid field goal range, I thought was a terrible call. However, I think what got lost on that play is that even if they had picked it up, there was a roughing the passer penalty on Joey Bosa, which was legit. So they would have had 15 yards and a first down anyway. I thought the second one on Tre'Davious White was actually a good call. So I thought they missed the first one. I thought the second one, you had to call that. There was major restriction. All right, let's get to the Cooks play. So I thought it was a catch. I'm sorry. I've read Terry McAulay. I've read all of these things. A player going to the ground to catch a pass must maintain control during and after contact with the ground. He must survive the ground. I get the rule. I understand the rule. I understand that when you catch it like that, you've got to, create the football move. And then if you're going to the ground, you have to maintain possession and you have to survive the ground. And the explanation about if the ball had just popped out and not been intercepted, it would have been an incomplete pass. I don't think it was going to pop out. The guy took it from him, from my standpoint, after he had survived the ground. I think he survived the ground. I think he caught it, had possession of it, survived the ground, and if McMillan hadn't been there, it would have been a catch. The ball wouldn't have popped out and been ruled incomplete. I thought, honestly, that he completed the process of the catch, survived the ground, and then the ball was taken from him with him on the ground that he survived. That's what I thought. But it was close. I get it. It was really close. And it was a hell of a play by McMillan. It was a really good play by Jaquan McMillan. Here's the part of it, though, that I think was a mistake. Brandon Cooks needed to get up and not only act like he had the catch, went to the ground, survived the ground, maintained possession, and then had it taken from him when he was already on the ground that he survived. He needed to get up and once he saw the ruling, go absolute bat you-know-what. And he didn't. He looked resigned like he thought it was an interception. I think it would have made a difference. I think it certainly would have made a difference in the way it was handled afterwards. Meaning that, Sean McDermott had to call a timeout to get them to look at it for a longer period of time, which was absurd. And did you guys see Walt Anderson, the NFL officiating spokesperson? Did you see his quote after the game? Or it may have been yesterday morning when I saw it. He said that even without a full-blown replay review, which they didn't have, insanity that they didn't have that, every play is being reviewed by multiple people. If you can confirm the ruling on the field was correct, they want to move the game along, closed quote. Move the game along? For what? What are you talking about? That is a terrible quote from Walt Anderson, the head of officiating, the spokesperson for the NFL officials. They wanted to move the game along. Why? So Seattle and San Francisco, none of the action was missed. Are you out of your mind? Move the game along. You're at the very end of the game. It's the biggest play of the game for both teams. It's going to decide potentially the game in Buffalo's favor. Move the game along. No, this is when I am fine, and I think everybody watching would be fine with pausing the game to make sure you get it right, to make sure that there is a full-blown replay review, and that we're not just saying, oh, we had multiple people look at it quickly and immediately confirm the ruling on the field was correct. You know, we've had this year replay assist decisions be challenged and won. Remember, I forget which game it was, where a lot of people criticized Dan Quinn for challenging a replay assist call. I don't know what game that was. It may have been the Philadelphia game late in the season at home. And I said, if you've been watching the rest of the league this year, there have been a couple of those replay assists that have actually been challenged and overturned, where the replay assist guy got it wrong after they went to a full-blown replay review. I mean, what kind of quote is that? Seriously, what kind of insanity is the Walt Anderson quote? You're in a hurry to do what? Move the game along? That's really insulting to Buffalo fans, to Buffalo in particular. That's not the right quote. The right quote would have been, we had many people, it's a playoff game, many people reviewing it, you know, as it happened in the aftermath, and they confirmed that the ruling on the field was correct. I mean, the fact that Sean McDermott had to call a timeout to get them to spend a little bit more time, because you can't challenge in overtime. There's no challenge. Everything goes to the booth. I mean, is that possible that they wanted to get that game over with? By the way, if you wanted to get the game over with, you know, sooner to get to the Seattle-San Francisco kick, then you should have taken your time there, because if it's a catch, the game's about to end on a field goal and a win for Buffalo. Whereas, you know, going with the call on the field to move the game along, you could have another hour left in the game because Buffalo now has to punt it. Or I'm sorry, Denver took over after the interception and they got a long field to go. The way to end the game quickly would have been to spend the right time on it, and if it ended up being ruled a catch, the game would have ended shortly thereafter. Once it was ruled an interception, you had an unlimited amount of time left potentially in the game. I mean, that game could have gone on for another hour. It probably wouldn't have, because both teams were making plays and it's outdoors and field goal kickers can kick ridiculously long field goals now. But I thought that was an absolute abhorrent quote from Walt Anderson. They want to move the game along. You can't say that. That's a divisional round playoff game. That was going to determine Buffalo, you know, winning the game or potentially losing it because the ball was going to change hands. So anyway, my view was, I understand the rule, football move, complete the process, survive the ground. And I thought he did all of those things, and then the ball was taken from him on the ground that he survived. That's what I thought. Hell of a football game, though. I mean, to kick off divisional round weekend with an overtime game, you know, 33-30. And then, of course, the Bo Nix injury, which we had no clue about until Sean Payton addressed it in the postgame. Really, really great. I mean, from wild card weekend to kick it off with that game, I was definitely crushed. I wanted Josh Allen to win the game. I actually thought, you know, even a healthy Denver against Houston or New England was going to be difficult, but I thought Buffalo against New England would have been a better shot. That game would have been in Foxborough, though. So now we get Jarrett Stidham, who interestingly New England drafted, and they really liked when he was there when they drafted him out of Auburn.